morning, Tri-Cities. I'm Carl Dye, and this is Coffee with Carl. It's 9 o'clock. Time to get started. So today we've got a great panel of guests. We've got all of our partners from our 4 cities here in the Tri-Cities representing each of their sectors in economic development. And our topic today is the future of economic development. So we're going to talk about what's going on now, how we're all working with COVID, and what do we see coming up in the future. I'm going to start just at the top of my screen, and I will introduce Mandy Wellner from the City of Richland. She is the Economic Development Marketing Specialist. Good morning, Mandy.
Good morning.
Just going around on my screen in some random order, we have Eric Mendenhall from the City of West Richland, who is the Community Development Manager. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Great.
Moving right along, we have Rick White from City of Pasco. He's the Community and Economic Development Manager. Good morning, Rick. Oh, you might still be on mute. Rick, you want to try it again? There you go.
Good morning.
Don't worry about it. We all go through it. I think Rick told us before we started that this is his third webinar, GoToMeeting this morning. So we appreciate you making time for us, Rick. Last but very not least, from the City of Kennewick is Rohanna Carmichael. She is the Economic Development Marketing Specialist from City of Kennewick. Good morning, Rohanna.
Good morning.
All right. Well, to get us kicked off, we always talk about coffee or your mug or what you're drinking this morning. So I've used this one before. I think I told everybody I'm running out of mugs, but this is the www.tridec.org, if I can rotate it around there. It's the old school mugs when Tridec first got a website, which I think was like in the 90s sometime. I picked this mug this morning because if you're a small business in Benton or Franklin counties, I would encourage you to go to www.tridec.org. We have 2 pages set up for Benton County, BC Cares, small business grants, and also Franklin County now, which we launched yesterday, which is under the our website /FC Cares. And so I want to encourage any small business that's been affected by COVID and nonprofits to go to that website. The Benton County grants now are closed for another week, but we'll open the second round up in 1 week, and the Franklin County grants are open. So just want to give a shout out to the website where you can go to fill that application out. If you're a nonprofit or a for-profit business, there's an application you fill out on the website and get the process started. So wanted to encourage everybody to check that out. So we'll go back through the order this time and talk about mugs or coffee and start with Rohanna. What do you got for us this morning?
This morning, I'm representing the Central Wildcats.
All right.
You know, my love for Eastern Washington started when I went to college there. So.
All right. I might be wrong, but I guess we might have a college theme in the mugs or attire. Just saying. We'll see once we get to some other panelists here.
Okay.
Rick, what do you have for coffee or a mug or a story or water or anything you got?
Well, as I mentioned before, I'm a little bit coffeeed out. So I did get the closest thing to a Christmas mug I could find, which was a sparkly, non-dishwasher safe, non-microwave safe, metallic tinged cup with water in it.
That's perfect. Very nice mug. Thank you. Eric Mendenhall. Eric, what do you have?
Well, I'm from the West Side. I came over the first of this year. I graduated from the University of Washington, so I got my Starbucks Huskies mug for my drink this morning.
All right. And Eric, just because we're all about equal representation, do you have anything to say about the Huskies, or you want to give a plug for your alma mater?
You know, they're a fantastic place to go to school, and I just love them to death. And I'm gonna miss going to the football games every home game. It was a great time over there. How's that?
That was perfect and just so on message. And I think that you have passed our technical test that we have with Tracy running our system in the background. You didn't cross that line that made her turn off your camera. So that was perfect. Thank you. And Mandy, how about you? What are you drinking from or with or coffee this morning?
Well, I'm paying homage to the times that we're in with the social distancing expert here, and having me a little coffee with you this morning.
I think our friend Bigfoot slash Sasquatch is always appropriate for anything here in the Pacific Northwest, right?
Right. That's what I'm saying.
That's right. Okay, well, we'll get into our session this morning and kind of kick it off with the pretty easy overview question. I do want to encourage anyone watching on Zoom that will be using the question and answer feature at the bottom. If you click in the box, you can ask a question for any of our panelists or any issues or things that you'd like us to discuss this morning. If you're on Facebook Live, you can put your question in the comment section and then we'll be able to get that too. So if you have a question as we go through our discussion today, make sure you ask it and we'll do everything we can to get to those questions. So let's kick this one off with Rick. Rick, you want to give us an overview of what's going on with Pasco, maybe some projects or future projects that are coming up in economic development?
Certainly, yes, thank you. Well, I kind of have a theme whenever I do these kinds of things and talk about economic development. I like to try to link the public investment portion with the return in private investment. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about some pretty big public investment projects that the city has been working on for quite some time and are finally coming to fruition. And we've received bids on a number of these. But probably the biggest is a $30 million project for the Lewis Street overpass. We're trying to replace the 1938 underpass that goes beneath the BNSF rail yard and move that about 200 feet to the north and make it an overpass instead. It'll completely change the personality and the perspective of downtown Pasco with that project, and of course make it a much safer and more freight-friendly kind of a facility. In conjunction with that, the city is investing roughly $4.5 million in a reinvention of the public space that the downtown Pasco Farmers Market is located in. So those pavilions that were constructed in the late 80s are going to be completely revitalized. The park, Peanuts Park, is going to be leveled and rebuilt. And the Lewis Street, the portion of Lewis Street abutting that public space is also going to be rebuilt in one of several phases for a streetscape improvement project that'll take place in phases over the next several years. So those are really big things happening in the downtown area. On the east side, the industrial portion of Pasco, north of Highway 12, the city is building roughly a $6 million force main so that the 14 farm circles that the city of Pasco now owns and is used for disposal of gray water associated with food processing will be able to also accommodate industrial growth near the US 12 Pasco-Colotis Highway interchange. That's currently the location of Grimway. They raise carrots and make carrot products. We're going to pull them off of our sanitary sewer and get them connected to that force main, which frees up a lot of capacity in our existing sewer facility and then makes good use of their rainwater as opposed to having to treat it. Switching sides over to the west side of Pasco, I think most people are familiar with the former Central Premix area. Now it's American Rock and Gravel, the gravel pit and the gravel mining operation there. The city formed a local improvement district to provide that area with sewer service. So it's roughly at the 50% design point. When we get about 60%, we'll be able to nail down the costs. We have the property owners fully involved in the LID, and and candidly working with them was, and there's only 6 or 7 property owners, which is almost unheard of for roughly 1,600 acres. But that sewer project will be able to serve both commercial and residential growth at that very important 182 Road 100 interchange area. And then, of course, it'll be designed to further serve our potential urban growth area to the north and to the west. We're working on a comprehensive transportation system master plan that's going to address transportation needs and mobility needs in the entire city and urban area for the next 25 years. I don't believe that this has ever been done in Pasco. It's a huge effort. It involves a lot of coordination between public works, engineering, and planning. And I think in the end result is going to pay big dividends in how the mobility needs in this community are served for basically the next 50 years. I can't wait for it to be finished. It's scheduled to be completed roughly in spring of 2021. So we'll see where that goes. And then finally, as Mandy mentioned, these are strange times, strange indeed. The city and I'm sure everyone else has a significant portion of business assistance money for businesses experiencing difficulties related to the pandemic. So that's been a big challenge getting that program up and running. We have our own money that we received from Block Grant. We received a very generous grant from Group Health for $150,000 that's already out the door, that's being used in the downtown area specifically. And then roughly $1 million that we received from the Department of Commerce CARES grant. And then as I heard earlier this morning, Franklin County, and Carl, you're aware of this, just launched a $3 million effort for business assistance for businesses located in Franklin County. So quickly, that's a summary, I guess, of the high points so far.
It's great, Rick. It's very clear you guys got a lot of projects coming on. It's exciting to hear that even in these COVID times, you're able to move forward with those, like you say, that public infrastructure investment to spur private development. That's great. Let's go to Eric next. Eric, I think that your appropriate shout out to your alma mater evidently has generated a lot of Facebook chatter out there. So good job. Let's move that into City of West Richland. How are you guys doing, and what are some projects that you're working on there in West Richland?
Sure. Yeah, West Richland, we're the smallest out of the three or four, the Tri-Cities area. But we've got a lot going on right now for our size of a community. We usually run about 120 new single-family homes a year. This upcoming next year, we're anticipating at least doubling that amount. We've got about 500 lots that are coming online. We've got Red Mountain Ranch with Aho Homes. They're anticipating building, they're forecasting closing a home every weekday during their construction. So that'll be pretty significant and a huge, huge effort. Belmont Heights, their last two phases of their development is underway right now, and Infinity Homes will continue to build out the rest of that area. Western Ridge, that is coming up to final plat as well, and that's going to be a mix of builders. And that's on just off of Paradise and Van Giesen on the hillside. Latin Meadows, Hayden Homes, they're going to be building some homes there just off of Keene Road. Infinity has another plat next door to them, so there'll be two products going in right there. A big one is also our police station. Right now we've hired a design build team who is working on getting that police station permitted. They're in the design phase currently. They'll be submitting for permits here shortly and getting that going. So we hope to see that under construction and completed by end of next year. Circle K by Yokes will be pulling permits soon as well. So we'll be seeing a new facility going in there next door to Yokes. And then out in front of the municipal service building, Erkey's is coming in for permits for another gas station and firehouse subs there at that location. So that'll be great. The Belmont Business District is a really great area. Next to the municipal services building, you've got the Richland School District finishing up their TLAC building. You've got the junior high school or the middle school that's right there. And so there's a lot going on right in that area with a lot of folks coming and going all day long right now. Well, hopefully soon when we go back to school, but as parents bring their kids to school and drop them off, there's a lot of opportunity there. Another big thing that we've got is the racetrack. You may have heard or seen some news buzz about the racetrack and what's going on out there. A few weeks ago, we had the Red Mountain Event Center, Friends of the Red Mountain Event Center, come out and do a test run of the track with some NASCARs. So you may have heard them. It was a really cool experience to go out there and sit in the middle of the track and watch these guys go around. And they tested the track. They said it's just as good as the day they closed the thing, and it's a great. The pavement's great, so they're going to continue to move forward with some events. As soon as we can have more events, we'll start seeing that come online. They're also looking at possibly installing some soccer, football, maybe some baseball fields out there as well to try to create a different, when there's not racing going on, there could be other events that could be held out there. They are also discussing having a drive-in movie event out there soon. So that'll be really cool. I thought they should be showing the movie Cars or Fast and Furious series or something like that. I think that would be appropriate for that for that event, but we'll see what they do. We have a lot of infrastructure going on, infrastructure improvements. We have a grant from the state to put some design together for Van Giesen and widening Van Giesen. So that'll be a significant project that'll provide for the traffic that's going to be generated from a lot of this new construction and provide for opportunities for some of the businesses that will come with this new construction as well. Keene Road will be completed as part of the Ajo development or the Red Mountain Ranch development. That will be completed all the way to Rupert Road before the end of this year. So that'll be a significant improvement there that'll allow for those new homes to have access. We also have some grant money that we're working on right now to make available through TriDeck. We have $300,000 that we're looking at making available to the West Richland businesses through the CARES funding, and that will be coming, the application for that will be coming on later this month. We have it for action with council to get their approval on the 18th. And then once they've approved that, TriDeck will start working towards getting that ready and available and out to the community. So we're excited about that and what that can do for our community and the folks that are struggling right now, for sure.
That's great, Eric. And we're looking forward to working with West Richland for that. You know, we at TriDeck, we had never really done these type of grants before, but we started off with Department of Commerce, and then you know, I think we're all in this together, and we're all focused on getting some of those federal dollars to help our local businesses. And so look for more information coming up from West Richland. And then, like we said, check out the TriDeck website and look at the FC Cares grant program, which is open now, and then the Benton BC Cares program for Benton County businesses, which will reopen for the second round next week. Let's go to Rohanna next, excuse me, and make sure I pronounce it right. You want to give us an update on some of the projects that are going on with City of Kennewick that you're working on?
Sure, yeah. So we have continued significant residential, single family and multifamily development going on. Southbridge is still adding a lot of homes, and then over on the west side of Kennewick is out as well. A lot of multifamily is going on, continuing to happen over there. We have a Washington Street enhancement project we're working on. We received grant funding to make that corridor connecting the downtown and the waterfront more pedestrian and bicyclist friendly. So working on the plan for that. And then with that, we also received some grant dollars from Burlington Northern Santa Fe. So working on our idea of expanding the wayfinding concept that we've already implemented in a couple areas around. I don't know if you've seen them around kind of the corners of Kennewick. We've put in some wayfinding monuments recently. So working on ways to do that, expand that program, and how to do it cost effectively. What else? We are working with the port on the Vista Field project. They have a master plan update going on right now. I'm sure you'll hear about it next week, but you can always get information off their website for that. Currently, City Council passed a moratorium on some of our parking regulations to assist the downtown businesses, well, all Kennewick businesses, to be able to expand into their private parking for retail and restaurant service, so that they can bring in more customers and service them outside. So that's been very popular with our businesses, but just working through making sure they're meeting the requirements for that. That's kept us pretty busy. We had some grant funding that went out. We were able to help 29 Kennewick businesses with CARES money that came in through our community development block grant program. So that was great. That was a great effort, and TriDeck helped with that. So we really appreciate all the help with that. What else? And then the Historic Downtown Kennewick Partnership is also working on a program right now. They did a dine out in downtown back in July, and they are working with assistance from the city and other resources to expand that program for an alfresco dining experience, since nobody can eat inside right now for restaurants. So allowing the restaurants to expand their footprint out onto the street. The streets are going to be closed down a couple of the blocks in downtown Kennewick. So we're excited to see how that goes. Hopefully it's extremely successful and we can get some dollars back into the downtown businesses while the weather's still nice, because like everyone knows, we don't know what to expect in the future. So we have a few months left of weather that we need to capitalize on now. Yeah, that's...
Sorry, Rhona, did you have a date for the next one? I think there's already been one maybe in downtown. So did you have a date for the next one?
Yeah, so the next one starts, I believe it's next Thursday, August 13th, I think it is.
Okay.
We're going to shut down 2 blocks of Kennewick Avenue. The side streets will be open, but the interior blocks of Kennewick Avenue will be closed, similar to what's kind of going on in like Walla Walla and Prosser. That it seems like it's helped their downtown businesses quite a bit. And the first round that happened back in July, it brought in, they estimated about $25,000 for that one evening of, they had 8 restaurants or food trucks participate, just socially distanced. All the guidelines were followed, but it just allowed more space with the road being closed. So businesses had a bigger footprint outside. So we're hoping that the same thing will happen again with this next go. So we hope it's successful.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, it's a cool concept. I remember I've only been to New York City once, but was there, I think like late May or something. And, you just be walking along a city street and then they'd have a festival in the next block over and they'd shut the whole street down. And so, that concept that we can put to use here locally, especially when businesses or restaurants especially can't be open for inside service and we have such great weather, it's a cool concept. So we'll always want to encourage everybody to get out there. I would assume that people could go to like Historic Downtown Kennewick's website and they probably got information on it there.
Yeah, if it's not up there yet, it will be up soon, but
okay.
They're working hard on getting that through the process, and our police and fire department have been great assisting us with the guidelines to make sure it's safe for everyone and we're following all the rules.
That's great. Thanks, Rhona. Mandy, last but not least, that I do have to say that there was evidently from Facebook, people wanted you to maybe present a stronger Coug presence. Just saying that, they're like, hey, Mandy, we know you're a Coug, can you give the Cougs a shout out? So just wanted to pass that along. That's kind of my job as facilitator. I'm not trying to pick winners or losers or anything else like that, just saying.
Sure. Well, because you're smart. And I was trying to give Eric, being the new guy, a little bit of audience, but now it is my time and I am, I have to win my points back with Tracy. And so I just want to make sure that she doesn't cut off my video feed.
Right.
In fact, I am even a Tri-Cities campus Coug, which I feel like, should a little locally at least.
Totally.
So anyways, yes, in all fairness, Central was fantastic as well.
For sure.
So, but for Richland, as far as our economic development, we always try to work with our community partners and build up business, which has been a big focus for us lately for current businesses that we have. And so we've also been trying to exhaust CARES Act monies and get those out to businesses. The CDBG grant, we were able to get to put some money out to businesses. And so getting that going, echo Rohana's efforts for sidewalk use and getting businesses to use outdoor spaces. So trying to help with that and get people into compliance, make sure that they can use the space that they have and in some cases get additional space. So we want to make sure that we capitalize on that weather and do our best to wear our masks and get everybody to where they can start doing business inside come fall. So that's our big fingers crossed mission. So I think if we all work together, we'll get there. As far as development projects go, we've got a couple of projects going as far as public works. We'll have our Dupertail Bridge project that should be finished soon. Right now you can drive on the bridge from the Queensgate side for the residents that are down on the water. It's closed across the railroad tracks and off of the highway. And so they're doing some improvements to that intersection. And then once that's open, the bridge will be opening shortly after. So that's been an exciting evolution and project to watch. It's not every day you get to see a bridge built. So that was kind of exciting. And beyond that, we're working on a downtown connectivity study, which has been interesting, working on kind of a one-way concept for our downtown, which will add bike lanes and connectivity and more pedestrian access to some of our businesses. And so that's still in the planning phase, and we're working, of course, to try to find grant funds to help us put that project into action, but we're pretty excited about the concept. It's been kind of interesting to see Richland with a little less Hanford traffic and kind of how normal daily activity functions. And so anticipating what that will be like when we all get back to work. So this is optimism this morning, Carl. And then beyond that, we have a lot of development for housing in Badger Mountain South, and our Horn Rapids area, in addition to a couple projects that we're working on for road extension. And we're putting a roundabout at Clubhouse Lane that's going to start work probably about the next week. They're putting a roundabout in there to open up some commercial properties out in the Horn Rapids area, which I think will make a lot of those residents and area businesses pretty happy. We're extending First Street out in the Horn Rapids industrial area, which will open up some more access out there to properties and some of the land that we have there for development, in addition to some commercial private development that will be going in on the corner of Kingsgate and 240, which is going to be a Firehouse Subs Sun Market development. So at least we'll be able to get some coffee and convenience to those residents as they grow and continue to grow. That housing development just really hasn't seemed to slow in some time. We do have some multifamily development as well going in out there, and just kind of preparing to open more sites. We currently have no available inventory in single 1 acre lots. So we're working on getting those kind of up and going so that we can expand our business center out in Horn Rapids. And those seem to fly before we even get them open. So working on future planning and development for that as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's move into maybe just talk a little bit about COVID. We hit on that a little bit. We've got some, we've talked a little bit about some of the grants and CARES Act funding that's flowing down through state government into local government. But maybe we'll just kick it off. Like, do you guys have a feel for how your businesses are doing? I know, we all meet on Tuesdays. We have this Tuesday call that we discuss how things are going, but let's talk a little bit about how your businesses are doing, if you're seeing some impacts, and then, if there's any specific programs that each city is working on, or even just, as future funding might come available, are there some things that we can all work together on to try to, help some of the businesses that are impacted the most? And maybe this time we'll start with Eric. And Eric, I want you to know, I'm just a Costco cougar, like my wife's a Coug. So I went to school across the line in Idaho, but you know, here in Washington, I guess I gotta pick a side, and you know, my wife's a Coug, but I'll freely say we're a house divided. My brother-in-law played football at UW, and you know, I grew up going to the UW games and stuff like that. So it's just good that we can have this healthy rivalry and conversation here in Washington, right?
Of course, I love it. It's great. My brother also is a Coug, so it always makes it fun when the Apple Cup comes around for some little fun between the two of us. Fortunately, I've been on the right side of that.
Right.
I have been receiving all of that lately, but who knows? Everything's potentially going to change.
You bet.
You never know when the tides will shift, but. So as far as businesses in West Richland, most of our businesses are restaurants, grocery stores, and things of that nature. We do have some other manufacturing outfits and things of that nature. So they have been hit pretty hard. We do have some fitness centers here as well, but they're obviously not open yet. So it really depends on what type of business, but they're all definitely being affected and impacted significantly. And we're hoping that they're all able to come back and be open again soon. As I drive around and see the businesses, I try to frequent all the different restaurants just to help them and keep them going, and go to the different grocery stores. I like going to the Hispanic grocery stores and getting the taco meat from them, because it's already seasoned. I don't have to figure out how to season it right, and I don't have to use the same taco seasoning over and over again for everything. So it's great to go down there and help them out and provide some much needed attention that they need. So I'm looking forward to this CARES funding and being able to distribute that out and be able to help some of these businesses that don't have their doors open yet, especially those that don't have their doors open yet. But for all of them, I mean, all of them have some level of impact, and this will be able to help them. So we're excited to see that come out soon.
Yeah. Mandy, how about Richland? I know you've shared with us in the past that you know, you stay in touch with your businesses a lot. Do you have a general idea of how businesses are doing, or maybe some examples?
Well, we definitely do our best to try to get in touch with them, but it's not always the easiest. I think Eric, I echo his comments as far as it being difficult. And I think that they're all at risk at this point. You know, I'm starting to actually see now a lot of the CARES Act monies have been exhausted. And so a lot of these businesses are back to trying to figure out what to do. A lot of them still aren't open. I think there's still some gaps in the funds that we are able to award, in that, you know, if they haven't been able to retain employees, or maybe they don't fit into a low income category, then, you know, they don't qualify. If they have a home business, you know, that maybe is like a daycare, they don't technically qualify for some of the funds. And so I think that there's some work to be done in those areas of pockets that we haven't been able to serve. And then in a lot of cases, you know, we were limited to $10,000 in our grants and our loans that were available, and I have money. And so, you know, $10,000 doesn't go very far when we're in month, I don't know how many, 5 of this. So if there's a way that we can help those businesses, and then just check in. A lot of it's PPP, a lot of it's problems that can be solved, and just simple how to function as a business or get online, you know, and pivot. So,
Mandy, you kind of froze up. I don't know if that was everybody else still there, or did I freeze up? Oh, now you're back.
Oh, here.
Am I back?
Okay. Yep.
We're gonna blame the internet.
Yeah.
Lost me, but I will say that trying to get businesses to pivot and find a new way to function is definitely, I think, going to be key going forward. So fingers crossed for support there.
Definitely. Rhonda, how about City of Kennewick? Do you have a general overview of how our business is doing, or you know, what are some of the challenges out there right now?
A lot of the same from what Mandy and Eric said, but we're pretty fortunate in Kennewick. A lot of, you know, the grocery sector is way higher than average sales right now. as well as like the home improvement. So we have a lot of the big box home improvement stores. So they're selling during these times. Our restaurants, once they were able to open up again for outdoor service, their sales, from what we've heard, have been very strong considering, we've had a lot of hot weeks, but people keep coming out to sit out on these makeshift patios that have been created. So that's great. Our small retail, they have faced some challenges for sure. A lot of them have, they're showing their resiliency. They've pivoted to a lot more online sales. They're doing deliveries, curbside pickup. So I think with the small businesses, they're going through this, but they're sticking together. They're helping each other out. So that's encouraging to see. But yeah, then there's the ones that are still not able to open, like the gyms that have been closed for 5 months now. The salons, there wasn't really anything for them to, they couldn't be open for so long. So it'll be interesting to see how the next few months kind of shake out for them. I know a lot of them are just crazy booked now because they have more requirements and they can't have as many people in. So they have less people coming through the door, but they are open again. So they're extremely busy. So we're thankful to all the funds that we were able to disperse and all the help that TRIDAC and Benton County has given for those businesses. But like Mandy said, a lot of that money is now running out. So, but we're hopeful. We're hopeful they can find ways to keep bringing in some dollars to their business and stay open.
You bet. Well, that's great. Rick, how about Pasco? Do you have a sense or a general overview on how your businesses are doing, or maybe some different sectors that are out there?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not going well for particularly the non-essential businesses. That's for sure. We were fortunate that all the agricultural related businesses were essential early on, and so they are continuing and have been continuing pretty much as normal. Although there were some real pandemic challenges with those as well. But I think everything you've already heard, Carl, is pretty much the same for Pasco. I mean, the money that we've received for business assistance is certainly welcome. It's been very difficult to get that out the door. We didn't have an existing program to do so. So we had to make one with rules that were being developed as we were making one. And, this is money that it's not sitting in a bank somewhere that the city can use. It's reimbursement money. So it's coming from city coffers. And then if we've done everything correct, it's federal dollars, we get reimbursed. So we had to really pay attention to detail as we get this going. Luckily, we're able now to, we've developed, we've kind of gotten to a rhythm getting the grants out. So it's a little better now, but it isn't going to go far. I'm sure everybody realizes that. And I don't see, I'm not very sure the near term horizon looks very good. I speaking of the UW all morning long, the university did a study that said by mid-October, we may be experiencing additional lockdown measures and closures to return to an acceptable level of resistance to the COVID-19 virus. So we'll see where that goes. But it's been tough, I think, for everybody all around.
Yeah, no, that's a great insight, Rick. I think everybody has, we've all been doing different things that we didn't do in our job as far as economic development, community development before, and really tried to pivot into anything that we can all do together to try to help small businesses, especially like you say. And, I think it's been one of those things for me being a newcomer, and Eric, I know you're new to the Tri-Cities as well, but for me, it's just great to see how the community pulls together. And if we do see that second wave in October, we'll just have to buckle down and figure it out when we get there, I think. And that's definitely been the history of the Tri-Cities. And it's not necessarily optimistic, but I think in this case, it's one of those things we got to do to make it through to get out to the other side for sure. We do have a couple questions. These are focused on Kennewick, but maybe we can, if there's other input from other cities, that'd be great. There was one about, evidently there's a proposal to do like a drive-in theater and gathering place at Vista Field. Rohan, I don't know if you're familiar with that, or do you have any thoughts about that? And I don't know, obviously that's on Port of Kennewick property, and I know they've got a development plan or something, but do you have a comment on that or any thoughts? Are you aware of that?
Was it a permanent drive-in theater? Or
I don't know. Yeah, it's just a question out there. I'm not sure if it was just a temporary, like Eric talked about at West Richland, or what it was, but maybe you're not aware of it and haven't heard about it.
Well, there's a program that all of the city's parks departments I know are working on with a sponsor to do a drive-in movie in each of the cities. And I believe last I heard that it is going to be able to go forward, but you have to, only your own family can be in the car with you. There's no sessions or anything like that. And I believe it's still moving forward, but that's the only thing I know about a drive-in theater. And I would definitely check out our Parks Department Facebook page. Parks and Recreation would probably have some more information on that and the dates when it's going to be happening.
Okay. Anybody else? I know, Eric, you talked about the potential drive-in theater or setup at the racetrack, but does anybody else, like Mandy said, is there a maybe through Parks and Rec Department or something, any discussions at say Richland or Pasco about pop-up drive-in movie theaters?
I think that we're seeing it from a lot of different community groups. The Confluent was trying to do one that's an all art focused drive-in theater. We're partnering with Kennewick and Pasco and I believe West Richland to do the moving around, let's say weekly drive-in. But yeah, so they're popping up all over the place now that they're permitted. I think that there was a lot of plans in place and people are just now being able to implement them. So we should start seeing them crop up soon. Okay.
And Erica, so is the racetrack being used as a drive-in theater? Is that a go? Or are you guys still working on it? Or I think you mentioned it before.
I would recommend people follow the city's Facebook page, as well as Friends of the Red Mountain Event Center's Facebook page. They're going to have that information. We were invited as part of that Tri-Cities drive-in movie theater. It's 3 weeks that they're going to do it. And we got the phone call late in the game and it wasn't able to come together for us, but the Friends of the Red Mountain Event Center are going to be putting that on. I don't have a date yet for that. I think they were waiting to see when they would open things up for us. So follow our Facebook page, follow the Friends of the Red Mountain Event Center Facebook page, and you'll be able to get some information when that news pops.
That's perfect. And Rick, are you guys working on the kind of the consortium for drive-in movie theaters too?
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
The track Hapo Center area and the stadium or the venue for that.
Perfect. We had another one, and the question was about Kennewick, but I think we could probably all talk about it. And it talks about some of the alcohol licensing to be able to serve alcohol with the outdoor spaces. So like if you do shut down a street, being able to work with permitting for that. And the comment is focused around downtown Kennewick's last time that they had that there was a waiting line on that. So Rohan, are you aware of this, or is it something that you guys are trying to help with, like alcohol permitting as it applies to some of those outdoor spaces, or do you have an update on that or any information?
Yeah, so if they're seeking to expand their footprint to the outside and they're expanding it like on our street, they would send us the plan, just like a site plan with a drawing of where they plan to expand. And then we would supply them with a letter just saying, yes, we approve this during either this time period or during this road closure. And then they submit that with a one-page form to the Liquor Control Board to expand their footprint. So that's how it's going for when it's on our property during a road closure. For the other businesses that are just enlarging their patio on their own property, they just, their property or property they lease, they just have to get approval from the property owner and submit that to the Liquor Control Board.
Okay. Any other input or thoughts on this topic from any of the other cities as far as a kind of similar thing? You guys are working the same way. If somebody wants to expand, even if it's into a public space like a sidewalk or something?
Yeah, so we're kind of doing the same thing, making sure that we just kind of keep safety and things in check as far as ADA and get them their approval as quickly as we can for regular business. I think that, I don't know if the question was a little more geared towards events like what they did downtown, but having outdoor consumption of alcohol without a specific someone owning the liquor license is kind of a tricky wicket. And so we've all kind of been experimenting with learning from what Kennewick had experienced and how, you know, maybe we can implement those things as this moves forward, to see if it's something that we can do in the other cities. But definitely hats off to Kennewick for being the first one to try it and to see, you know, where the holes are that, you know, we can all learn from. But that's usually the biggest one is the Liquor Control Board and whether the city would apply for that license to be able to consume in the street. Because right now, I think the way that I recall Stephanie saying it worked was if you bought alcohol from one of the businesses, you had to consume it there in their space and not out to the street. And so until all food truck, we're probably going to be with those similar regulations.
That's correct. You have to consume it at the restaurant's location inside their 42-inch high railing structure that they've created.
Yeah.
Okay. Rick, how about Pasco? Are you guys any of these, you know, like in the downtown Pasco area, is this a similar issue?
Oh yeah, we're well underway allowing that to occur. We relaxed our parking requirements, allowed outdoor dining, seating. You know, once you conform to the Liquor Cannabis Board, you're pretty much set to go. So a number of restaurants have taken advantage of that, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
At least it's not 110 out today, so you know, maybe they'll, on a Friday they'll see some activity.
That's right. Rick, while you're on, we had a question about the Dust Devils, our minor league baseball team here. Do you guys work on that, or obviously me being a newcomer, I haven't had a chance to go to the baseball, and I think maybe the series is canceled this year. But any update on the Dust Devils?
Yeah, no, it's maybe not as bad as people may have heard. I think the Dust Devils, if assuming there's sports at some point, they'll be here. I don't believe they were ever on the short list of minor league teams that were going to be extinguished. So I think we're okay for now. As a matter of fact, the city went ahead and made significant improvements to the stadium. So we're banking on them being here.
That's great. Good news. Thank you. And Eric, did you have any input or discussion about is West Richland working on the alcohol liquor control board licensing issue too? Do you have any restaurants that are doing outdoor?
We do have a lot of restaurants that are doing outdoor seating. I know that I went around with the city council passed a resolution on that. So suspending the parking requirements. So I went around and handed out that resolution to all the different business owners, and there were quite a few of them that were going to be expanding out into their parking area. The roads and things don't really apply well here in West because they're all on a major arterial, and closing down a portion of that road would be hazardous, particularly if people were drinking on that major arterial. So that's really not an option here, but they do definitely have opportunities in their parking areas to expand, and I've seen several businesses do that already, so it's great.
Carl, we can't hear you. I don't know where you went. Anybody else hear him?
I can't hear him either.
Okay, just making sure. You never know on the Zoom.
Someone's able to hear him. Not me.
I see his lips moving though. I mean, I guess we could hijack the Zoom. What do you guys want to talk about?
We could just say Googled it.
So this new Carl guy, he's been really great.
Yeah, Carl's been fantastic. We've enjoyed his leadership out here, right?
Super helpful.
There we go.
Hey, there he is.
Sorry.
All it takes is just start talking about him.
That's right. So we have a question about rock pits or gravel pits. The pit's been exhausted, and I think Rick, you talked about it a little bit, and then maybe there's one in Richland as well. But does the city have plans, or does the property owner have plans for the redevelopment of that gravel pit area or something? We'll start with Rick and then maybe go to Mandy in Richland.
Well, yeah, we do. And it's not something that I talked about because we've taken our foot off the gas on this a little bit with our urban area expansion that we're pretty much spending our entire staff planning department resources on. But we were heavily involved pre-COVID with the Broadmoor Area Master Plan, working very closely with those 6 owners that I mentioned earlier on the Sewer Local Improvement District project. And it's our understanding that the majority owner of the property, including the entire gravel pit area, will not be renewing the lease, or if it is renewed, it will be far more limited in scope than it is now. And it expires roughly in 2025, I think midpoint of the year, which coincides with the mining permit expiration date of 2025. Now, having said that, it's important to note that, Pasco is planning for an additional, well, now 48,000 people in the next 20-year growth cycle, according to the mandated planning requirements for the Growth Management Act. That translates into a lot of local need for gravel products. The Broadmoor Area Master Plan probably has a 20 to 30 year build out time period. So, I mean, eventually it's going to be reclaimed and repurposed for urban uses. But I wouldn't be complaining very loudly if it lasted maybe towards the latter phases of the Broadmoor build out. I think the product's going to be needed, and if there's a way to accommodate both, we'll try to do so.
Great, thank you. Mandy, how about, it says gravel pit along the Yakima River in Richland. I think that's still an active pit, isn't it?
We actually have a couple. There's that one, and then there's another one on the north end of Richland as you head out of town, and that's actually, I believe, on port property. And I do know that they have worked on a master plan for, as those become exhausted, a way to redevelop them and come up with some new uses and sell the property to be able to develop, and working with the elevations within those. But beyond that, I don't have any specifics to a plan. I just know that it is something on our radar that we're looking at. They won't necessarily be voids in development, so I don't think we have to worry about that.
We do have one more question. It talks about using CARES money for improving healthcare delivery to underserved populations, mobile clinics, pop-up clinics and stuff. And I think that's, I'll just maybe jump in on that one. I think from our work with the counties, the county's got some big chunks of money, and then at the county commission level, they've decided where to allocate some of that money. So not all the money that they got from CARES is going to business grants. I know the counties, obviously, both boards are the board of for the health district. And so I know there's money that's going into that. And I think that's what I know about that question. So we might just throw that one out there. We've got about 5 minutes left. And with 4 of us on the call, that's probably a good time for closing statements. So maybe we'll go back around. I just want to thank everybody for being on today. This is a good conversation. I think it's great for all of us to hear that even with COVID, there's so much really development and future growth and expansion that's going on. I hope someday we look back on COVID and just say like, well, it was a bump in the road. It kind of slowed stuff down for a little bit, but as soon as there was a vaccine and we were all able to get open and start business back again, that our economy just started growing at a huge, fast pace like it has been before this. So in your closing statements, if you want to talk about the future of economic development along those lines. So what do you see coming out of this? Maybe that's the topic for our closing as we go back around. And I think this time I'm going to start with Rohana.
Oh, lucky me. So the future of economic development, I think it's changing all the time. We're pretty retail centered in Kennewick, and this is kind of, we already knew it, but maybe it's making us focus a little bit more on diversifying what we bring in. We're always wanting to retain the existing businesses we have, but then also bring in more sustainable family wage jobs. So that's going to be our focus moving forward. And hopefully there's not too many vacancies that need filled once we get through this on the other side, but looking at what will best serve our community in the future.
That's great. Well, thanks, Rohanna, for your time today. Let's go to Eric next for a closing remark and talk about the future of economic development, or what do you see coming up as we come out of COVID?
Sure. What I'm seeing as we come out of COVID is just a continuation of the efforts that we've had for a while here in West. We're a bedroom community, so we're not seeing the significant impacts that some of the other cities are seeing. But we also have been, even before COVID, been really trying to push for more economic development, more job related, more retail sales tax related businesses to come into West Richland. And I see that we'll continue to do that, and see with all of these new homes that are coming in, more opportunities for those businesses to locate here. So a lot of planning is going into that, a lot of trying to bring some foresight as far as what the infrastructure needs are going to be and things of that nature, so that we're not stuck with backed up roads and issues that typically come with new development. So a lot of planning is going in right now into a lot of those things to help with the future growth and future opportunities. And we're really, again, we're just still trying to push hard to encourage and bring those developments into West Richland. So go Dogs.
Thanks, Eric. Rick, how about Pasco? What do you see coming out of this? I know, you've given us a great overview of all the development, public infrastructure investment that's, basically taking that long-term vision on growth and development. But do you see any changes in those trends coming out of COVID, or something you're looking forward to or seeing coming up?
Carl, I really do. I think the future of not just economic development, but development itself is going to be a big challenge. And we're going to be looking at accommodating, I think, very different ways of defining what economic development is over the next couple of decades, I'm almost certain. Pasco's retail base is automobiles, heavy equipment sales, and distribution. And the distribution has continued unabated, but the vehicle sales, for example, those haven't, and that's been a shock. We're a few months behind in the receipt of sales tax information, just by the way the system operates. But I think we're looking at some very different ways of accommodating things for the foreseeable future. So everybody wear your masks and wash your hands.
That's the key. That's the thing that each of us can do right now. It's a great point. Mandy, how about Richland? Do you see any changes coming up, or what do you see as the future kind of in our economic development spectrum that we all work in?
Well, I think I would echo the comments of everybody. I mean, I think the one benefit we have going for all of us is that, the Tri-Cities historically has been resilient when it comes to economic downturns and when it comes to businesses and resiliency in our economy. And so I think that being able to bounce back from this is definitely in our corner. I mean, we're good at that. What that looks like, I think, will be interesting. And I think we'll probably see a little bit more redevelopment as opposed to maybe we've been focused on new development. And kind of focusing on working on some of those core areas that may or may not have been thriving during this, or that may need additional assistance and help. And so I think for us, it's just about being nimble and figuring out how to best serve our constituents and what they're going to need going forward and what our businesses need going forward, in addition to just trying to get our word out and recruit, because I think that there's going to be a lot of new taxes coming in other areas that might make us a little bit more opportune to be able to recruit those new larger businesses to our area, as opposed to some of the larger cities that have had that more focused, overgrown approach. And so I think that people will be looking to relocate. So we have that benefit. So I think that's where I would say we're headed and hope to be headed.
That's great. I would totally agree. And I just wanted to maybe sum up. We're out of time today, but thank you all for your time and joining us. I think this is a good conversation. Like I say, we see each other every Tuesday because we have a regular meeting, but it's good to share that with this broader audience. And I just want to thank everybody in the cities that you represent for your partnership. You know, TRIDEX made up of all of our members, and the cities are really key and critical partners that we couldn't do the work, you know, without all of your support. And I really appreciate the teamwork aspect for everybody. So thanks everybody for your time this morning. Have a great weekend, and we'll see everybody else back on Coffee with Carl next Friday at 9 o'clock. Thank you.
Thanks, Carl.
Thank you.